In Urban Era here with a nice update. In the last month, I've procured a unholy amount of items sent to me from friends, patrons, and clients. And I just wanted to go over a few of them, but also show off my latest kit bash, which is an Alco RSC2M, of which it was a factory rebuild that Alco offered in the mid-1960s to roads like the Milwaukee, so that they could extend the life of their RSC2 locomotives, which were long in the tooth by the early to mid-60s. I went and kit bashed this model, and I'll do a whole Joy of Kit Bashing episode featuring the process of how to kit bash this in the future. I just wanted to pose it here with this caboose as well, because one of the first things that I procured was another one of these Walther's 30-foot cabooses. So this will be eventually, this GN example will eventually become an Alta example. Another piece of Alta news is that we created a wonderful pass that you can ride the Alta with. So now these are all sequentially numbered and dated, and I'll sign them and send them out if you purchase items, or if you're a patron, of course. You can check it out, both sides here. Meticulously recreated from original passes that were given out to sales and shippers so you could ride real railroads for free. So this will be a fun little extra that I'll include when I send things out. So let's get into the giant pile of things in a surprising variety of scales as well. Okay, up first, let's start with a pre-order that came in. This is a brand new Atlas Lock Sound equipped RS-11, and it represents Ferrocarril Pacifico's only RS-11 that they rostered from brand new in the late 50s until it was wrecked in 2006. It runs very well, as any Atlas engines tend to do, and it's very powerful. I'm very happy with it. I'll further super detail it with the correct sheet steel pilots and the correct horn, amongst other little FCP era details. But I'm looking forward to this. I imagine I'll also do a Joy of Kit Bashing video about this, and probably an article in RMC. Up next is this Union Pacific F3, which will become an NDM F2A. I actually have a Highliner shell lined up so I can do it correctly. If you're a rivet counter, you'll know that the side grates are different on the F3 and F2s, so I can't just use this shell. So what I'll probably do is either remove the grill off of this shell and put it on the Highliner shell, or purchase some more Highliner chicken wire grills and sell this shell to one of my patrons. So look out for that in a few months. I will also do a Joy of Kit Bashing video on this, and probably an article in RMC. Up next is an old friend. This is another MRC F7A that I procured from a local train club who was doing a sale. I just wanted to grab a fresh one of these so I can pose it next to the kit bashed ones, which is now, thanks to all of you, my loyal viewers, the most viewed video on my channel. So you'll see something fun coming in April of 26 that will feature this model. A patron sent me a lovely tank car. This is these American Limited Fuel Service tank cars, a drastically underappreciated model when it comes to railroad operations. It allows some flexibility in having a very rare thing, which is a home railroad labeled tank car that is very useful for your engine servicing facilities. And you can take it out to your petrochemical industries and back again. It's a very cool car, and I'll do a little mini review on it at some point soon. Another fun procurement from a client is this lovely Broadway Limited Plymouth. This little 3-axle guy is something I've wanted for a very long time, but they did, I think, 1 or 2 runs of them, and they're basically unobtainium. One of the fun things about it is that it is almost entirely die-cast, so it's pretty heavy despite its size. I'll put it in a head-to-head competition with the Walther's ML8 and see how it performs. I've wanted one of these for a very long time, and I'm very excited to give this a test run in a little bit. Fascinatingly, one of my own engines that I've had for years has returned to me. My client sold me back this Baldwin VO1000 that I've had since, gosh, I was a teenager. It's been a long time. This had originally custom lighting features that were pretty cool, like a flashing rotating beacon, which still works, But while it was in his care, he had Sound Tsunami 2 DCC installed into it and a bunch of other fun features that I am very keen on seeing what he did with it. Much anticipated procurement is the first Fairbanks Morse engine I've ever owned. I've always been a big fan of FM locomotives, but really haven't had a reason to justify owning one, so now I do. I learned that in the mid-60s, the Chihuahua Pacifico acquired a bunch of ex-Erie Lackawanna and New York Central H1644s used and sent them to Mexico for service for the next 20 or so years. This locomotive, an H1644, will become Erie Lackawanna 1930 after I swap the shell out. I originally was inspired by a photograph I found on Flickr posted by the Center for Railroad Photography and Art, seen here. I really eagerly await this kit bash, and I cannot wait to share it with all of you as I make it into a Joy of Kit Bashing video, and presumably also an RMC article. Okay, a really, really fun thing has come across my desk recently, and I'll do a full video featuring these. So this is a battleship gondola, and these are particularly fascinating because they're side dumps. You can see here the 3-foot-long I-beam that runs across the center of the car that allows these side doors to open by actuating a brake cylinder here, which opens the sides of the cars like that. I needed some copper ore service cars for the Alta on the Nakazari branch, and I reached out to one of my good friends who was making a file of these cars, and he so graciously printed out over 1 dozen of them for me to build. So you'll definitely be able to see that process soon enough as I build most of these cars for ore service on the Alta. So that should be a pretty exciting project. I'm absolutely over the moon with the quality of these prints. They're very, very nice and very close to injection molded plastic, and I cannot wait to weather them up and make them look convincing as cars that would already be in their 5th decade of service hauling copper ore from the mines to the processor. Up next is also another great kit bash. This is a Bachmann 060 Porter. The cool thing about the Porter, as I learned, and I'll do an insert shot here, of this entire shell comes off right at the frame, so it makes making a replacement shell to drop right on top of it a lot easier. I've wanted to do a shop switcher for a very long time, and hopefully this drivetrain will be the way that I achieve that. So I'm really looking forward to it. This is from one of my clients' earlier layout concepts, modeling the North Pacific Coast as if it were standard gauge. So it'll find a second life as an Alta shop switcher. This is one of the most underappreciated Bachmann offerings that's ever been made. These are American Car and Foundry logging flat cars, and they're one of the most detailed truss rod flat cars ever built. It is such an unusual offering from them to have such incredible full underbody detail, including accurate truss rods, which are just marvelous looking. These came out a few years ago, and a lot of people missed these. If you can find them out in the wild for under $20 a piece, I would scoop them immediately. They're extremely useful for many things. And in fact, what I'm going to use them for is a bunch of Alta maintenance of way flat cars doing a variety of different services, be it, hauling heavy machinery or rail or many other things. So look forward to this. I already have a few of these, so I'm putting together a full train, a maintenance of way train, which will also be a future video of some sort. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with these. And these are just marvelous cars. They're also very heavy because the entire deck is cast metal, so you don't have to worry about them string lining. But very cool model. You don't see these a lot. Another fun freight car is this early 60s, I think it's a Pullman Standard covered hopper in Santa Fe Mineral Brown. I've wanted one of these for a very long time. And the run of these came and went back when I was in college and broke and could not afford a nice exact rail car Or is this a tangent model? I forget. One or the other. Either way, I've totally missed the boat on these, but my client was selling this off, so I managed to procure one of these, and I'm very excited to run it on the layout. It'll be probably in brewery service, so you'll see it fairly often. Another thing that I've wanted for a long time is these Intermountain flat cars. What a lovely, beautiful casting with the full underbody detail as well. It's something to really appreciate how well executed these cars are. The wooden deck is also a particularly nice touch, and I really don't have many good flat cars on my layout, especially revenue service flat cars. I've got a fair whack of like the Bachmann logging flat cars that I showed you earlier, but I don't have very many revenue service flat cars that are very nice. So this is a fantastic and much needed addition to the fleet. Another very fun addition comes from my client's old layout. This is a brass 40-foot RPO that was built for the Southern Pacific, the Virginia and Truckee, and the Yosemite Valley. These little branch line RPOs were found on all sorts of little lines all around the system, but primarily in California and Nevada, of course. My client painted this up for his freelance Stinson Railroad, and I'll probably strip and repaint it into Alta soon enough. I have a precision scale brass version of this as well that will receive identical treatment and painted into Alta that one of my dear modeling friends and one of my oldest clients gave me many years ago. So it'll be a fantastic complement to that car. I'm really looking forward to upgrading this, and hopefully I'll feature it in some format as a sort of like, how do you repaint old used brass? Because it's a challenge. So it should be fun to feature the process of going through that. Speaking of old used brass, this is a fantastic Southern Pacific MK11. These were primarily used on the Minarets and Western, which is a logging road out of Fresno, which sounds a bit strange if you think about it, but it actually goes off into the Ponderosa Pines above Fresno. They're not logging, downtown Fresno, obviously. This locomotive has been nicely weathered and sound equipped, but it has a little hitch in its giddy-up. I am actually not buying this model. I'm borrowing it from my client so I can take measurements of the boiler, the cab, and some of the other tender things, because I plan to kit bash one using a Bachmann Russian Decapod 210. So what I have done is remove the final driver of the 210 and put a trailing truck underneath it, and then I'll scratch build or kit bash a boiler that will fit this, and then I'll have one of these lovely low-drivered 282s for the Alta. If it goes well, I might make a second, but we'll see how it goes. This should be a very fun engine, and it should be a wonderful thing to base a future kit bashed model off of. Another fun little brass model. This one is actually for Alexander. I managed to procure a Baldwin Logger 282. This is a 70-ton version. It's a very handsome little engine, and I've wanted one of these for a long time because I strongly believe that a major manufacturer like Rapido or Bachmann or even Broadway Limited should come out with this exact locomotive in HO scale and N scale too, so that the thousands of examples that were built over the decades for various logging, mining, and even Class 1 railroads can be appreciated and run as a piece of small steam that we so desperately need. I can't imagine this brass engine runs very well, but it's something that I'm very keen on making sure that this gets produced as a commercial model that you can buy ready to run with DCC and sound at some point. I'll probably upgrade this one so that it's extra nice and get it running so it really does sing. Another fun car is this Intermountain stock car. A lot of people just buy generic stock cars and say, oh, that's good enough, which is fine. I think that's a great way to do placeholder stuff, but it's really nice when a company comes along and does specific prototype cars like this SP stock car. I have a bunch of the Intermountain Santa Fe stock cars as well, and I like being able to have these more accurate cars intermixed with the generics. So they're eye-catching, they're exactly the right era and time and space for the Alta, so it's nice to have these on hand. Another car I missed the boat on a long time ago are these Athearn Auto Parts boxcars. These are particularly neat looking. with their roof walk removed, but the hangers are still intact. You can see them here on the end. Got some lovely underbody detail, and of course the cursed roller bearings with rotating caps that, you know, you end up losing the caps for, but that's okay. We'll keep this car together. I'm pretty excited. I've wanted to build an auto parts train or a fast forwarder for a long time, so this will be a wonderful addition to the roster. So this is kind of a 1-2 thing, unexpected from two different people, one a friend and patron and another one my client. So my client, I procured this 89-foot flat car from my client, and then one of my patrons sent me these. I've always been a big fan of these Illinois Central piggyback logo because it's just fantastic. It's so playful and wonderful. So they sent me these delightful trailers, so they'll probably end up on this flat car. And since TTX Yellow is technically too new for me, or at least this version of the scheme with this logo and the COTS label, I'll probably paint it into Alta, so we'll see what that looks like soon enough. My friend and patron also sent me this Caswell gondola. I've been slowly collecting Caswell gonds for the layout because the Alta needs quite a few of them. So I've already got, I think, 3 or 4 of them, and so this will be a wonderful addition to the fleet. I'll also show an insert shot of what it looks like out of the box here as well. These are, again, just marvelous cars with wonderful detail inside the gondola and outside, in addition to rich underbody detail. So here's kind of an unusual thing. This is a Model Power caboose that has been rebranded and reacquired by Lionel in its constant search for, how shall I put it, Lionel has had a very fraught career, introducing and reintroducing and reintroducing and reintroducing HO to their line of products. And sometimes they skew toy, sometimes they skew hyper-real. In the early 2000s, they came out with like the Veranda Turbine and I think at least a Big Boy or a Challenger. And those were incredibly well detailed and pretty well received. But now they've procured all of the old Model Power toy line of things to make affordable entry-level trains for people getting into the hobby. For instance, this one, I believe, was $9.95 from Train World. And so my patron passed it along because I was curious, what does it look like in this modern era? You know, this is tooling that dates back, I believe, to the late 50s. And so it's amazing to see something survive longer than the people who created it by some decades. And they've gently updated it in a rather fascinating way upon closer examination. So it isn't just the Model Power tooling, but it also includes something very strange, and it's these wheel sets, which, if I'm not mistaken, these are scaled down 027 wheel sets. They don't match classic RP25 standards at all. Like if you look at, for instance, the Athearn F89 flat car, you can see that these wheel sets are almost entirely different. And it is kind of fascinating in a fun, like, toy train-like way of, they took, for instance, an 027 CAD file and scaled it down to HO for these metal wheel sets. Now, one thing I am a bit worried about is these flanges are definitely pretty large. They remind me of 70s pie cutter flanges that you would find on AHM models back in the day. And so I'm curious about how it'll perform on Code 83 and even Code 70 track. It may not. But considering this is an entry-level product and most entry-level track is Code 100 or Code 83, it probably won't be a problem. But it is interesting. The paint and application of lettering on this is very sharp. So for $9, I mean, it's hard to say no to this, despite the wheel falling out of the truck here. I think Lionel might be onto something with these entry-level cars. Now, I would like to see some fresh tooling rather than just microwave reheated old Model Power stuff, but it is nice to see these also become commercially available again. You can see they updated the coupler pockets. The trucks are Model Power through and through, but the wheels are not. It is kind of a fascinating little car. So, yeah, just a little nice insight. I'm curious what other things they'll come out with from the old tooling, and if they'll do anything that's brand new tooling as well. It would be entertaining to see some of the classic Lionel offerings scaled down to HO scale for people to enjoy as well. Finally, a friend of the channel and a patron sent some wonderful custom decals for their home road and sent a boxcar to repaint into said home road. This being an older Proto 2000 50-foot boxcar. So I'll repair the handrails and grab irons and paint it up for their custom railroad. So that should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to that. But finally, there's one more thing. And it's not small. One of my other friends and patrons sent me this. This is a G-scale 40-foot boxcar. After seeing the video where I had stacked the HO Alta boxcar on top of this O-scale model that's seen here, they sent me an email just asking obliquely for my mailing address, and then this arrived. So hopefully we'll have a G-scale Alta boxcar coming soon. That should be very exciting, and I'm so thrilled that it arrived because this is going to be great for being able to run on Friends Garden railroads and just a fantastic piece of decor for the workshop. So this has been fun. I don't intend to turn this into an unboxing channel. This is just an absolute unbelievable wave of things that came my way this month that I thought it would be fun to share and get some feedback on all the fascinating things that arrive in the mail and the amazing plans I have for all of these. This has been an Urban Era. Of course, check out the Patreon so you can see what's going on as I slowly and gently repaint, kit bash, and update all of these things. You'll be able to see that live over on Patreon. And this has been an Urban Era. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.